your fancy Swifts and things.
You and your type safety.
I know. Like,
We used to iterate over arrays and not know what the fuck was in there.
precisely.
And we liked it.
We liked it.
The hacks we've pulled.
That was good. All the method swizzling, right?
All
All the power.
all that sweet, sweet swizzling.
It's a candy world, man.
We have a secret.
Yeah, guys, we have I guess a confession, sort of.
I don't. Are we ashamed? Or I guess.
Oh, well, I am proud.
Are you
know.
proud? I am. I feel a bit of shame. Not. It's not a deep shame, but there is a little bit of like. It's you can't say this out in public.
Yeah, or you just like quickly, you just mumble it and like you move.
Yeah, or you just talk at a level of abstraction higher that people don't notice.
Yeah. Like, Yeah.
You just like state vague facts and talk around. So hopefully people don't
Think you're smart and like just don't dig deeper, right?
I feel like we've been doing that.
Yeah, guys, we don't use Swift. Wah, wah, wah. Well, okay, so I guess we have not, yes, on the
Not
project.
professionally.
Yeah.
We have, of course,
Well,
written Swift.
I have personally
Okay,
used
I
it
have
on
not
previous projects, but not
that's right.
lately, right?
Right. So I actually have never professionally written Swift, although my professional career has been short. It's been about a year and a half.
And for me, I would think actually the last year and a half, I haven't touched Swift, basically, again, professionally.
Right.
Before then, yes, an app or two I've built with it for like a few years or a year or something. But yeah, that's just something like, we worked at Vanilla with a legacy code base and it's all Objective-C. And we,
There was a team of two. We're not going to end the app. It's ginormous.
Yeah, we couldn't
1,500
refactor.
files or like 14, I don't know, a lot.
Yeah. We couldn't refactor much. And the problem, we already had problems with compile time, right? It was
a long time.
Yeah, it was a really long time. And if we would introduce Swift, it would take even worse.
This is a known issue.
Yeah, it was like even
Objective-C mix is going to blow up your compile time.
And it was like Xcode 8, right? Even before the optimizations with Xcode 9. Although, yeah, it's not good with 9 either, actually. So yeah, and basically, kind of from my personal experience and from what I gathered at ThoughtWorks, actually, too. At ThoughtWorks, we use on all the projects we use Swift, right? And especially the new project, Greenfield projects, and I recommend it as well. Go with Swift. It's mature enough now. It's stable enough. But again, there are a lot of legacy code bases out there, and the big companies they have stuff written in Objective-C, and some of them are not switching yet.
I mean, the majority of code is Objective. It has to be.
Yeah. Eventually it will also move to Swift, and if everyone will switch to Swift, but it's gonna take time. And you guys at Reddit, what's your experience like?
It's Objective-C. We want to switch to Swift. The team has grown lately, and I feel like now that the team has grown, as the team is grown and it will continue to grow, and as we mature as a team and get the code base a little more poise it for the next kind of transition to Swift, we will. That's definitely a task on the roadmap, but it's something that we want to be tactical about because of that increase in compile times. I have coworkers who say they had like 15-minute compile times, which is insane. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah,
like
that's like open your laptop in the morning, launch it, and then go get coffee, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh my god. But what would be those I guess tactical things, the way you would approach it?
So one thing is we're adding nullability flags throughout the entire code base.
Yeah, just kind of what we've done to kind of, I don't know, get ourselves in the mind frame of that, right?
Yeah, and it's going to make the transition to Swift that much easier because you need to know that information in Swift. You can't get away with that like we did in Objective-C, just flying blind. And I think one thing is we want to do that will help is use frameworks. We want to modularize code into frameworks because that will help reduce the compile times. If you don't touch a framework, then it won't have to recompile. It'll just stay sit. So
it's besides that, actually, that's just a good practice, right? Every mature code base, Android, iOS, they eventually move to kind of libraries, right? They extract things out, the core business logic, like even simple networking, actually, right? That's one of those things that can be extracted, and yeah, that would help just with simple decomposition and decoupling of things, but then compile time as well.
And I feel like also part of it is that, like, and maybe this isn't explicitly stated, but it's probably implicitly understood by everyone, is like, Objective-C is not that bad.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I mean, yes, there's issues with it, and I think, yes, Swift is the better language now. At this point now, it's Swift 4 now, and it will continue to get better. It's more modern, it's more safe, it's more features. But Objective-C is not that bad. People used it for years making apps. Like, the apps have worked.
Yeah, it has a weird syntax, but get over
the
it.
Square brackets are a little maddening, or the square brackets. But I don't know. Like, it's working. Like, there's no like, oh my god, we need a switch because everything's falling apart, everything's on fire. Like, it's fine. It's working. Everyone understands it.
Actually, some of the things are pretty good there, and I miss them.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I like actually. One of them is like being able to send messages to nil.
I know. Why is that so hard?
It's kind of. I get it. I guess it's I get that it's less safe, but it's kind of nice to just be like, whatever. Like,
it's a null object pattern for free. That's what it is.
Just yeah. Sometimes it's useful to be able to do that. And it's like perfectly, your program's not going to break if you send a message to nil, and you know that. You're like, fine, that I'm going into this aware of that, but Swift would not allow you to do something like that.
And another big thing for me personally, header files. Even though everyone says, oh, it's yet another file, and I have to declare it, and blah, 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 it's more code. But that's just this decoupling, encapsulation, it makes it explicit. Here's your interface, right? Here's this messages you can send to that object. And that's it. Everything else private. You should not know about it. But now, like, you look at your coworkers, like what your coworkers wrote, right? The code in Swift. And it's like all in one file. You have to hunt for public methods there, and what's private, what's public, and it like decipher and skim through it. Why?
Yeah, I really like having a explicit public interface, like a summary of the interface. That's what object-oriented programming is all about, and it's really nice to just have some explicit summary of the interface. I mean, yeah, it's nice. Yeah. There
are workarounds. I guess you could use protocols or something, but then
you have to enforce it. The team, you have to enforce it, and people. It's not like a .h and a .m file where it's like it literally will not compile if you don't. So, yeah.
Another thing is, even though again that's also a source of a lot of bugs, but Objective-C is dynamic. And you could do things, and specifically tests. The one thing I would agree is hard with Swift, really hard actually, testing, TDD. Because you can't mock and fake objects easily, you kind of have to do it manually because there is no reflection. You cannot set key value of a key on an object. You're locked, right? We don't have that. There's no key view or whatever.
Yeah, at Reddit, I've done some pretty. I will use the word clever. Some pretty clever things with the Objective C runtime, and like getting the list of selectors at runtime, and then calling a method using as it like NS selector from string or something like that.
Oh wow. Dark magic,
super cowboy. But I feel like in where I used it, I felt like it was justified.
You were building a framework, right, or something? You told me.
Yeah, so I had made a framework for this. Basically, we had this generated code, and I basically had to use the objective. Like, so this generated code followed this uniform way of being generated. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I can see how it's uniformly generated. So therefore, I can kind of like at runtime use the Objective-C runtime to like do this fancy stuff. And it works. It's fine. I wrote unit tests to make sure that it's fine. But I don't know if is it even possible in Swift? I feel like it wouldn't be.
As far as I know, no.
Yeah. So, yeah, was it good for me to do that? It's arguable. Was it convenient? Hell yeah. It was very convenient.
You do have tests, though. I actually give you a pass with this one. As long as you have tests.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. I didn't have to write like I feel like I would have had to written a whole bunch of like classes for each one of these auto-generated files if I was using Swift. But instead with Objective-C, with this dynamism. What is wrong with me? Whatever. Anyways, that word. I'm able to do it much more concisely, cleverly, and I'll admit maybe a little dangerous, but it's convenient and I have unit tests, so it's doing the job.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, it's kind of our confession episode.
We're coming clean.
Yeah, we're not ashamed. Well, a little bit, but
I want to use Swift.
Yeah, we gotta do what we gotta do.
But I work a job. I can't. We're a company.
Right.
It's in a business context. They aren't just going to be like, hey, write it in Swift because it's fun. We'll get there when the business is ready, when we think it's a good business decision. And I think Swift is actually a good business decision because I do think it's the better language and it's more safe. But I don't see the rush that we need to do it tomorrow or anything.
Right.
But, it should definitely be on the roadmap. Don't take 3 years or something or 4 years to transition your app, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, guys, if you're on the same boat, don't feel bad. I
honestly feel like a lot of like professionals, developers go to conferences and we're like all like secretly not admitting to each other that like we're writing Objective-C because we don't want to seem like the lame guy or gal left behind, and everyone else is like doing this cool Swift stuff, talking about writing code Swifty,
right.
Writing cool Swift blog posts. No, I go to the coal mine and write my Objective-C and I put food on the table. Damn it,
right?
Not all of us can go to Hollywood and become rock stars. Some of us.
Well, yeah.
No, it's not that bad.
Dirty hands. Someone's gotta do it, but
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, and regardless though, like, it's still an OOP language and Swift as well. So kind of, if you're learning the right techniques, learning the right design, good design patterns, and kind of figuring out when to apply them, that's universally applicable and useful with Swift later.
And the proving point of that is probably, I would say the majority of people probably thought we wrote Swift this entire time.
Right.
And the reason why they couldn't tell is because we are practicing these
higher level concepts
that are agnostic of the language. A language is just
Just a tool.
It's just a tool. Yeah. Principles of object-oriented design. Those you can carry from language to language.
Solid.
Yeah.
Clean code. All of that.
Yep.
So yeah, guys, that's it for this episode. Confession episode. And yeah, give us thumbs up, stars, retweet it, reshare.
Hello
everything.
at InsideIOSDev.com is our email, and at InsideIOSDev on Twitter.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.